Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Mobile App Academy. This is our live building series where we show you how to build and configure mobile apps on the Now platform. My name is David Ha, and I'm an outbound product manager here at ServiceNow, and I'll be your host for today's session. If you are joining us for the first time, welcome to the session. We have product experts here to provide guidance, best practices, and answer any questions that come up along the way. And we do host these App Academies once every month at 10 a.m. Pacific, in which our recordings will be posted onto YouTube on the ServiceNow community channel. But in case you aren't familiar, I just want to point out a few resources that we do have available. If you're new to mobile, we recommend that you check out some of our self-enablement resources that you can find on our community site, such as our Essentials training blog and mobile FAQs. We also have other resources such as labs and mobile trainings on Now Learning, as well as a playlist to all of our previous app academies where you can find sessions like Mobile Agent Quick Start Guide, Getting Started with Now Mobile, and so many more. But with that being said, let's get started with today's topic, in which we're going to further explore getting started with Mobile App Builder. In fact, in today's session, we're going to be deep diving into configuring related list using Mobile App Builder. How do I create a related list screen to give my users easy access to records related to the current record that they're reviewing, right? Just to quickly review today's schedule, we'll start off with a quick overview on related list, and then we'll jump into the exercise and wrap up with any Q&A. Okay. Related lists. So I think a common misunderstanding that I hear from a lot of customers is that related lists are enabled automatically, and that there's not a lot of work that you need to do to turn them on. But the truth is there's actually quite a few configurations necessary in order for them to work. To configure a related list, first, you actually need to create a list that will display your related records. So you have to build a completely new screen from scratch, right? The second thing we need to do is we need to create a parameterized data item so that when we pass the parameter from the related list, it only populates the relevant record data to our parent list, right? So using incident as an example, if you're trying to go from incident to child incident, you'll need to pass the child incident parameterized data item, the parameter from that back to your parent, which is the incident list screen, right? So there's two screens that you'll be working with, and it will make a lot more sense when I dive into the configuration. But the very last step that we'll need to do is we have to define the relationship between the current record from our parent list to the related list itself. I think an important call out here is that for a related list, we only support relationships that are defined by a reference field between two tables. If you happen to be using custom relationships from the sys relationship table, or you're using scripted relationships, those are not supported, unfortunately, using related lists. But you do have other means to display those type of relationships. You can use things like embedded lists, and that will support custom and scripted relationships. But for today's session, we're only going to focus on related lists that uses reference field association. Okay. And for our exercise today, we will be using the out-of-the-box field service mobile app. We'll be using the latest mobile app builder version tools and the card builder to build our list screens and form screens and really list. But the use case that we have for today is we are going to, my mistake, we're going to be navigating from critical task, not instance, critical task. And from our critical task, we're going to create a related list displaying task SLAs that are related to that task, okay? And again, to create this related list, we'll go through these three steps. We'll build a list that will display my task SLAs. And then on that task SLA screen, we're going to build a parameterized data item. And then we're going to pass that parameter back to my critical task list. That way, that's what will connect our two screens in order for us to display the correct relevant records. And then lastly, we'll just define the relationship. And I'll show you how you can find that relationship to use for your related list. Okay, so let's go let me display my instance. I'm gonna share a new screen here. 1 second. Okay. So you should be able to see my desktop now. I have my mobile app on the left side, and I have my instance on the right. Um, just to show you what we're about to build real fast. In the middle here, you have my critical instance or my critical task. Sorry. And if I tap into one of these, I currently have two segments only. I only have details and activity stream. I need to create a third segment that will display my related list, right? When I create that segment is expecting some sort of screen for you to navigate there. This related list will not just automatically appear. You have to build a list screen for it to display the related records that you want. And this related list, we're going to want to show task SLAs. Show me all the task SLAs that are related to this critical task, right? So the first step is we're going to build a task SLA list screen. And then we'll associate that task SLA list screen to this new segment, this third segment that we will enable later. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to open up Mobile App Builder. Just to answer a few questions in the Q&A. One question from Karen, you're using the field service mobile app. Is there an out-of-the-box mobile app for ITSM? Yes, there is. You can actually find that app through our ServiceNow docs. So you look at ServiceNow, mobile, ITSM. We have docs on this, and it will show you the plugin necessary to activate that app. Okay, and this is the experience that you should see. Another question from Yatharth. Can we have a recording of this? And previous sessions available? Yes. This will be uploaded to the, go to YouTube and you look up Now, was it Now Community? ServiceNow Community, it will be uploaded here, or specifically for this session, if you just look at Mobile App Academy, it should be the first playlist that comes up. Oh my gosh, I spelled Academy wrong. Academy. And it'll be this playlist of 67 videos. Okay. Back to our configuration. So I have Mobile App Builder shown here. And then, yes, let's jump into our field service mobile scope. So this is our out-of-the-box field service mobile app. And this is the out-of-the-box experience that you see. We've done some configuration to this out-of-the-box experience. And that's why you'll see critical tasks, which we've covered in previous sessions. Okay. The screen that we want to build a new screen to display my task SLAs, right? So let's create new, and I will build a new list screen. And again, this list screen is going to show me my task SLAs. So let's do task SLA. I want to use unique naming so that I can find it easier later. So let's call this MAB for mobile, or MAA for Mobile App Academy. List screen. And then it's going to ask me to display an icon. I can just select one that's out of the box. I won't care too much about which icon I select for now. I can always change it later. So let's just select this bookmark. And then let's click save before I build the other screens. Okay, so we scroll down. We're then going to need to create a screen segment, which we'll call task SLA screen segment, Mobile App Academy. And then we'll create our stream, which will contain the data item, right? So let's call this task SLA list stream. And this is where we move on to step number 2, creating our parameterized data item. We need to be able to pass a parameter from our parent screen to our child screen. That way it knows to display the correct records, right? So I'm going to call this task SLA. And for the table, you're going to want to show the table of the current record. Not the current record, sorry, the of your related list. So this is going to be task SLA. If it was the current record, then it would be task. And then we'll save this. And then in our parameters, we're going to create a new one. And then we'll just call this, task SLA parameter, data parameter. We'll leave the rest of these fields. The type will be string. That's fine. Default value blank. We'll save that. Going back to my data item. So now I have a parameter that I can pass to the current record. And for the current record to know what I want to pass, I want to map task to the parameter that I'm passing it to. Okay, so we'll save that. I think if I expand this, it'll show me all the, yeah. So the reason why you can't see the condition values is because my window's a bit shrunk. So now that I have my parameterized data item, I think I can move on at this point. Yes, okay. So going back to my list stream, I'll now build out the card template and the record screen. Okay, so let's create a new list item config. And again, we'll call this task SLA list item config. When we populate the fields on this card, we expect to show fields from task SLA. And then it's going to ask you what card. We're going to want to create a new one. So it'll be task SLA view config. And then I'll ask you what template you want to use. We will use an out-of-the-box template. So we'll just click choose instead of trying to create a new template from scratch. Just because I'm familiar with what templates are available out of the box, I'm going to use template 01. But in case you're unfamiliar with what does come out of the box, if you go back to your instance, you can actually open up Mobile Card Builder. And then using this, you can see all the card templates that are available out of the box. Might take a second to load. Here we go. So, if I select card templates, you can see all the ones that you can pick from. I like to use template 0001 because that is the most basic template that lets you display 4 to 5 fields. And it's one of the most common templates to use. Okay, so we'll use template 01. And then before I dive into the card builder, if I click save, it's going to ask me to open up this card in card builder and fill out the fields. I need to define the table. The fields that we want to select from is from the task SLA table. Okay, so we save that. We'll now launch into Mobile Card Builder and fill out the fields that we want. So let's just display like 3 fields. We'll display let's see. Let's use an example. Which field should we show? We can show stage on the very top. And then in the middle, we can show, business time left, I believe. Could be any one of these fields. Let's do business time left. And then for the last value, we can do SLA definition. Actually, let's switch these two. Let's do SLA definition in the middle, business time left below it. Okay. So now we have our first card ready. So if I were to open up, this list screen, what we've just filled out was his very first card. I wouldn't be able to tap into it yet because I haven't filled out the record screen. So let's go and do that next. Going back to App Builder. I'm going back to our list item config. We scroll down. It's going to ask you for an embedded screen. We're going to create a new one. And we will create a record screen. That way, when I tap into my task SLA list screen, I can see additional fields by enabling a detail screen. So let's do task SLA record, MAA. What I can do to save time, if I want the cards to be exactly the same, I can just use the exact same card that we just configured. So I think we call that task SLA view config, right? And then I can just pick a random icon. And then we can save. So now both the cards on my list screen and the record screen will be identical. So now I can skip that step. We can now configure our segments. What segments do you want to display on our record screen? So we'll create a new one. And I just want one segment for details. That way I can show additional fields. So let's create a new embedded screen here for details. And then we'll call this task of SLA details. Pick a random icon again. And it's going to ask for what fields do you want to display from what table. This will be task SLA. We'll save and then start selecting some fields. We can bring over like 3 more fields just to show you. So we can do like business elapsed time. And then a second field for we'll do, business elapsed percentage. And then just one last field. That way we have a decent detail screen looking. We'll select breach time and then save. Okay, so now at this point, we have a complete task SLA list screen. This is where we're going to navigate to for our related list, right? We're going to go from critical task to task SLA, right? But if I were to just navigate from this list screen to this list screen, it doesn't have any context. It doesn't know which task SLA is associated to the current record, right? And that's why we created this data item that's a parameterized data item. And we're going to pass this parameter into this list screen so that it shows me only the relevant results, right? That's where we set this conditions here. Task is this parameter here. Okay. So the first and second step is done. We've created our task SLA list screen. We've created our parameterized data item. The very last step is we need to now enable a related list segment and then define the relationship for it to show. Okay. So on mobile app builder, let's go back to home and let's open up this critical task list screen, or what I call the parent list screen. So let's open up critical task. And then we want to go into the record screen. So let's scroll down here on our left-hand nav to record screen. And then if I scroll down here, you can see that there's currently 2 segments, one for details and one for activity stream. So let's create a third segment for related list. Yes, related list. So let's call this task SLA related list. The table is going to be task SLA. And then icon, we can select any icon. And then we'll save. And then the very last step is defining the mapping. Okay. So if I click a new mapping and then define all these relationship values here. Oh, that's interesting. I'm not seeing the relationship that I'm expecting. What did I do wrong? Let's see. Oh, let's choose destination screen first. Let's do, we're going to navigate to the task SLA that we just built, right? List screen. And then if we select relationship, oh, that's interesting. See, what I'm expecting to see is if I open up a work order task, and we'll just troubleshoot this on the spot. If we open up work order task, let's pick, task network outage 9008, for example. – 9000. Oh no, there it is. 9008. And then if I configure in the left-hand hamburger icon, if you configure the related list, you can see all the relationships that are available for this work order task. You can see, these are all the relationships that are available. For the ones that are related to the task SLA, if I could do control find, task SLA, you have this task SLA relationship. You also have this task SLA to task. This is the relationship that I want to select. If I save this, since I already have this brought over, I just need to scroll down to the bottom of my work order task and look at, this currently one task SLA. And the relationship that defines this is going from task to task SLA. So that's the relationship that I want. Now, the reason why I'm not seeing this relationship, let's go back to related list. Let's see, this related list, what table for this related list? Yes, it should be the task SLA. What happens if I change this to task? Does my values for this change? Yep. So if we, okay. So I guess on the related list screen, it's actually expecting the task table. So maybe we need to use the current records table, which is, work order task. Because now I'm able to see all my different relationships. And this is the one we want, going from task SLA to task. Okay. So at this point, it should work. If I refresh my mobile screen, I should see the related list. You might need to do a refresh from the home screen. And then if we open up critical task, do another refresh. Oh, we're not seeing our related list. Okay, so let's keep troubleshooting. What are we missing? Um, we'll start from, let's start from our task SLA list screen. So let's open up another mobile app builder. And then we'll open up Field Service Mobile. And then look up task SLA. Okay, so we have this list screen. Let's double check our data item. This is usually the most important part. The table should be task SLA. The condition should be task is this parameter that we just created, which is correct. Okay, so step 2 is verified. Let's make sure that this list screen works. So let's just try to get this list screen to display. Let's get this on our mobile agent app. So let's put this on this home screen here, just to make sure it works. We're troubleshooting every step. Let's open up my work screen launcher screen. And we will, put this under my work. And then we'll just choose the task SLA screen. I should be able to see a list screen that just shows you all the record on task SLA. So I do task SLA, mobile app academy, and then save. When I do a refresh, I should be able to see that screen at the top. Oops. There it is. So let's tap into it. And I'm seeing 0 items. So this is, oh, and the reason for it is because we have a parameter. So let's just delete this parameter really fast. Where is it? There it is. Let's go to task SLA list screen. And then data item. Let's just remove this condition for 1 second, just to make sure that this list screen works. There it is. Okay. So I can be certain that this list screen works and that part's fine. So there's only one other place that I need to check to make sure that this works. Let's set our condition again. Okay, so this should go back to blank. The very last step is I need to double check my critical task where I embedded the related list. I think that configuration is where we went wrong. So if we go to our record screen and then open up our related list segment, and then open up the embedded screen. I think this is the issue here. This table, I thought it should be task SLA. And then save. We go to related list mapping. It's interesting. I'm going to double check one other configuration real fast, just to make sure where I went wrong. If I look up task SLA, Table should be the parent table. Oh, okay, so that part was correct. Okay, that's my mistake. So let's go to record screen. Related list. Oops. Related list. The table should be parent. So this should be task. And then there's my relationship. Let me check my notes to see if I missed anything else. The condition is our parameter. That's correct. Oh, UI parameter. That's where we missed. We missed one huge step. This is where we went wrong. Okay, so there's just one last step that we missed. If we go back to our task SLA list screen, on this list screen, there is a UI parameter that we need to create. And this is what maps our data item parameter to our task SLA screen. So I need to create this UI parameter here. And then there's a screen data parameter mapping. Like the data parameter that we created on the data item, it's currently not going anywhere. And this is where you map the two. So I don't need to touch any of these values under here for the UI parameter. The input source is going to be user input. Input types can be text. We'll leave that as default. The most important part here is the mapping itself. That maps our two screens together through that data item parameter. So we're going to select the parameter, which I call task SLA. So this is where unique naming is very important. I don't know which one it is, so let's double check. Task SLA mobile app builder. If we go to the data item, we call it task SLA data item. And then the parameter is called task SLA. Let's give it these initials, and then I should be able to find it a lot easier. Task SLA, there it is. So now at this point, I should have everything working. Let's do a refresh. If we open up a critical task and do a refresh, I should be able to see that one task SLA that we saw on our work order task earlier, right? And just to confirm, let's open up work order task for 9008. 9008. And if we scroll down to the task SLA related list, yes, there is only one task SLA. If we tap into it, the two SLAs are identical. So we have a working configuration. It looks like I just confused myself earlier. There was just one crucial step that we missed, and it was creating that UI parameter so that we can map our data item parameter to our UI parameter. Okay. Any questions? Charity, are there any questions that we want to highlight from the chat?
There's one about Now Mobile. Can you please confirm that Now Mobile can be accessed for internal customers or external customers?
That's going to be an interesting question. Now, we do have external customers that use our mobile apps, but it's specifically for CSM. I don't know if there's any BU specifically that has enabled their app to be accessed by external users, I would check with the BU leads themselves. So what I would recommend is go to your account team. So it looks like you are looking for CSM. I'm not aware of any out of the box experience for CSM for Now Mobile. I don't think there is an app out there today. And I don't know if it's because of limitations or if it's just hasn't been done yet. But I would try reaching out to your account team and checking. Check with the CSM team at ServiceNow and see, is there currently an existing app that's out there that we can just leverage out of the box, or do we need to build some sort of custom app ourselves? And if we do build a custom app, is external customers supported for my use case? So that's what I would check with the account team. Hopefully that answers your question. I do know that CSM has built an agent app, and that agent app can be accessed by external users like contractors and so forth. I just don't know if they've done it on the Now Mobile side, which is for many other use cases. Any other questions?
I haven't seen any other questions come in, but I do want to make a quick note. I provided the link to the Mobile App Academy YouTube playlist and the ITSM Mobile Agent Store app in the chat. So if you want to grab those before we sign off. And I know there was a question on how David was showing his phone, and he uses QuickTime. I'm on Windows and Android, so when I use it, I use Screen Stream over HTTP. There are other apps available, some that you install on your computer, so they kind of are a little bit more operating system focused, but any of those will work. We don't have any emulators at this time, so you do need to have your phone and then find an app that can connect it to display your phone on the screen.
Perfect. There is also one more super important thing that I want to share with everyone. This is a huge opportunity for you to help influence our upcoming roadmap. There is a short survey that you can take. There's this QR code. If you pull up your phones and scan that QR code real quick, if you would like, if you are a mobile app builder user or you've implemented any of our ServiceNow mobile apps, whether it's currently or in the past, this is your opportunity to share feedback with us. This survey, we're trying to find ways that we can improve our roadmap to make our apps more usable and try to cover any gaps that we have currently. So please use this survey to share that feedback with us. This survey shouldn't take more than 15, 20 minutes to complete. And again, this does inform our mobile solutions roadmap. I do believe at the end of the survey, there are some incentives that you can take advantage of. There might be some sort of benefit that you can reach out to our research team about for I think there might be some sort of, I'm not sure what it is, but there's some sort of benefit at the end. So feel free to check that out. But this survey will ask you questions around things like, what are your top priorities around mobile? What are your key mobile needs and challenges today? And what do you feel like that's most or least supported by your current mobile offering? Help us find some of those gaps so that we can work on it on a roadmap.
For anyone looking for those links, I did repost them, so they are in the chat again, so some people couldn't see them. And there's a question about, how about the recording, please? The recording will be in that YouTube playlist. It usually takes a couple weeks for it to get put on there by the team that does that.
Sweet. And if you do have any questions, we do make our emails available for our research team. Feel free to reach out if needed. One last thing I want to help promote is that we do have a mobile research panel sign up available. And this is also an opportunity to help influence our mobile product strategy. If you sign up, you'll receive exclusive invitations to participate in interactive feedback sessions. You'll be the first to provide input on new designs and early concepts. And this is just a panel for you to share your thoughts, opinions, and insights through brief surveys, or we can even have one-on-one interviews with you. And again, this if your organization allows for it, there is you might be eligible for some sort of incentive. And again, this is another QR code which you can sign up. Whether you want to just take a quick survey to help influence a roadmap, or you want to be part of our panel to get involved in some of our early iterations, feel free to sign up. And I think that's about it about on all the things I wanted to share for today. If there's no other questions, let's go and wrap up. Thank you all for joining us in today's session. Hopefully you found it helpful. We are going to have another App Academy on the last Tuesday of next month. There is another short survey at the end of this if you want to help influence which topics we want to cover in the future. Feel free to take that 1 to 2 minute survey and let us know. But with that being said, thank you all for joining us today, and we hope to see you again next month. Thank you, everyone.